investing in your kids' ears and nesting. Now this looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me, cause we need a little controversy, cause it feels so empty without me. I said this looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me, cause we need a little controversy, cause it feels so empty without me.
Howdy.
Howdy,
Welcome under the hat. I'm Bellboy,
I'm Sydney.
and as we promised, this one is a little bit of a serious note of an episode. Me and Sydney have been realising, and I'm sure has everybody, that WWE is pretty much going a little bit downhill. Well, in our opinion, in quite a lot of categories. So this episode is the current downfall of the WWE.
Yeah, it's not that it's at its worst point or anything. It's still reasonably good to watch. We're still fans of it, but there's a lot of things that are making it a little bit worse than the way it was. And if it carries on like this, then who knows?
So a few of the things we've noted down here that we don't like. I know a lot of the younger viewers might disagree with this, but PG-13. Now I'm sure the younger guys, younger subscribers of ours, younger fans of WWE, I'm sure they wouldn't mind a little bit of Austin type theme, the Attitude Era coming back. It was a lot more interesting, a lot more realistic, and a lot more, Vince McMahon brought in the Attitude Era because he didn't want our intelligence insulted, but he's kind of insulting our intelligence again now with this PG-13 era.
And to be honest with you, when I was 13, I would have watched stuff that was over 13 anyway, and I would have loved it.
Exactly.
I would have preferred it than the stuff for my age group.
I think Cena sort of may have encouraged this sort of episode coming in, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the Cena that he was. The Cena now is a PG Cena.
Yeah,
rather than the Cena when he was heel. I mean, he was... it's not that he's not good now, but he is orientating it too much towards the kids. And it's making the whole programming go that way.
Yeah, definitely with that. The commentary, we've thought for quite a while, has not been up to scratch of what it used to be. Where's the heel commentator? The blatant biased commentator that used to always go for the bad guys?
Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore.
No, I mean, you always had JR and King would be the heel one. In the olden days, you had Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan.
Jesse Ventura. It's been a classic tradition throughout wrestling, and then seems to have just stopped.
It would always make it a lot more interesting, but now you hear the commentary and you just don't have that spark there.
Yeah.
I mean, JR and King, in a way it's good to split them up because the other commentators don't cut the mustard, but then separately they're not too good. You don't notice them so much anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. They just don't have the chemistry that they used to have. Another thing that we're not impressed with is the booking. I haven't seen that. Well, I know we've had a couple of decent feuds, but nothing that really rides home. I mean, compared to the old school feuds,
it's rematch after rematch.
Yeah,
and it's they'll just see a light feud going on, and they'll just stick them in a 6-man tag just to make up a Raw.
Yeah. They seem to just put together these Raws like they don't know what they're doing just to get to the pay-per-view, which is ridiculously only about 3 weeks apart from each other.
Yeah.
There's way too many events. That's probably why there's too many rematches, because they can't build up enough time, so they're just rematching. I'd say you probably get the same match, 3 events back to back.
And by this time you're getting bored of the feud. They don't progress the feuds, so you just get bored of them because you're seeing them in every main event.
Yeah.
But I mean, these points, a lot of them, I have to say, would go with Raw, because SmackDown, it does seem to have the cutting edge at the moment. It does seem to be the number one show, and it has been for a while. And
that's probably to do a lot with these celeb hosts now.
Probably the celeb hosts. I mean, some of them have been good. They've spiced things up.
Yeah.
Trish Stratus wasn't too bad.
I think the WWE, the wrestling-related celeb hosts, aren't too bad. But these,
people that you don't even know who they are.
Cedric the Entertainer, Bill Baker, whatever his name is. I don't know.
I know we're from the UK, but
that might be something to do with it. But I'm sure people know that they don't really care too much about WWE. and they're just sort of trying to...
Too much orientation around the host.
They're trying to turn it into a game show.
Yeah, and they concentrate the whole show and base it all around the guest host, which doesn't make for good viewing, in my opinion.
No,
SmackDown doesn't have that, and you're a lot more fixed to the wrestling side of it and the storylines.
it does. It seems more serious, SmackDown. Raw's turned too jokey.
Yeah, and but that could be a reason why they should maybe put the rosters back together.
Wow.
Because that would probably make things...
I know for a fact. I wonder how many of you out there preferred it before the roster split. I know it's a business decision. I know the Bandit about a month ago, he had a big thing about this, saying how he much hated it. I've hated it from the start. I can see that there's just too many different things coming at you from a different angle.
And if you did that, you could let the feuds build up, because you'd have them fighting on Raw.
Yeah.
And then feuding, starting the feud, and then SmackDown progressing the feud, and it would go like that. So you'd have storylines. It would always be Raw. You'd have a major storyline happen. SmackDown would be a continuation of it.
Yeah, just
but
like
they can't do that anymore.
And another thing that's really chapped my ass from recently, like so many title belts, is absolutely ridiculous. Not only that they change hands so many times, but having 3 world titles in the WWE is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, there should be one main champion, and that's the man.
Yeah.
That's the man. And it's always been that way. There's one champion of that, and he carries the torch for that company. But now...
There's too many. You don't know who's the man in the company.
Yeah, who's the man? This champion, or this champion? And then it's just ridiculous. It's become a money frenzy. Like, Vince, I'm sure, has only got 3 world titles in there, so he can sell more belts. He can have 3 more brands, could split it up. It's all about the money. Who cares about the money?
That's it. And you don't have the shocks now. I mean, when was the last time where a major face turned into a major heel? He doesn't want to do that anymore because he's probably selling too much merchandise out of these face characters.
Yeah. Seeing that turning heel, we were discussing it when we were watching Raw, would be great. It would probably, it would make knock the WWF by a storm, really. But they won't do it because they'll probably have a lot of the kids out there going back and, saying, why did Vince do that, or why did Vince Cena turn heel?
Yeah, and they're even thinking about maybe bringing Edge back and keeping him as a heel when they were maybe going to turn him into a face. How boring would that be? I mean, Batista's come fresh over, why don't we have him as a heel? Spice things up a bit.
Yeah, it's just not enough decent angles, not enough decent surprises, as we said. And,
I mean,
good guys.
The biggest surprise on the Raw that we last saw was probably Santino Marella being the special guest referee.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just nothing happened, and these Raws just float by, and all you can say is, oh yeah, that Cedric the Entertainer bloke was the guest host. But that's all that happened,
Yeah.
There's never key moments.
When you're looking at Raw 10 years ago, you just think, what's going on?
Too much jokey things happening all the time.
Yeah.
And not enough down to business, putting their middle finger up, Austin way.
Yeah.
It's just not happening anymore.
Bring the F back in, and
they need to start pushing some of these mid-card wrestlers.
Yeah, they do.
Making them into stars of the future, or they're going to have none.
They need to start jobbing up the big guys, because at the moment, when they go, if the WWE is in the same situation as now, they're going to be in big trouble, because who's going to be carrying the torch? It's a worrying situation. We're lifelong fans, and we're not going to turn our back on the WWE by any means, but we're just trying to think of things that they need to sort out for their own sake.
Yeah.
They need better characters, another thing, but we could go on all night, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, we want to hear what you say. I mean, maybe you're not going to agree with us, but let us know everything that you want changed.
Yeah.
And you never know, we might get a petition together and give it to Vince.
Yeah. By all means, I mean, do video responses, and we could maybe get all our petitions to Vince. And I'm sure, he might take a slight bit of interest in what we have to say, because it's supposed to be all about fans anyway. Next up is another prediction show, as I said.
Hell in the Cell,
Hell in the Cell.
So hopefully this Hell in the Cell, Hell in the Cells are the best matches, so we want to see some good Hell in the Cell matches.
We're going to have a say about that, but until then...
Until next time,
what goes on in the hat stays
under the hat.